All right. Mic check. Let's see. Yep, we're good. Mic's good. But wait. Okay, no, we're good. Cam check. What's up, y'all? Silverback, Smoke, Peacha. What's happening? So, everybody in a food coma for most of today. Food coma slash Black Friday shopping board. Yeah, I'm trying to take it easy until next week because I know I'll be spending ungodly amount of hours for the month of December. Just playing in general. First, obviously the PTR. I gotta do all my testing in the 3-day time window, and then after that, then obviously PoE early access. The idea is that PoE to early access captures my attention for whoops. Look at that. It's me. Remove that real quick. But I'm assuming that I'll be interested in Path of Exile too for all of December. At least that is the plan. I'll put it that way. Whether it actually happens that way, I guess we'll see. But the idea is that that holds me over or has me interested in what's to come for PoE 2 all the way up until D4's next season, I guess. Is your stream is buffering for you? Is it? But since it is just early access, of course, yeah, there's a lot of content up front, but I think I won't be one of the ones that's going to return and blast throughout all of PoE 2's early access. It'll be one of those things where I'll blast a lot in the beginning, and unless I like love it kind of thing, I don't see myself spending or that becoming the main thing I play until launch of PoE 2. Definitely not going to do that. I don't think there's been a single early access game that's captured my attention like that. Could be wrong. Could be totally wrong with PoE 2. But I would say that the past experiences does not lead that to be the case for me. But actually, you know what I thought about though? You know what I thought about? I was watching the Last Epoch dev stream today. I think it only had about 150 viewers or something like that. It's like a live Q&A. Like you can literally ask a dev anything, which is usually the best live streams, right? Like that's the best scenario situation you can be in for wanting to know more about Last Epoch. This is talk directly to the devs, right? Obviously. And well, the thing is that I mean, I've said it in my streams often. People are, finicky, and are easy to catch on, capture to the hype that other content creators obviously generate for a said product. And I don't think Last Epoch has gotten any worse or anything over time or whatnot. But I do remember, the humongous amount of hype surrounding the game initially, and all the compliments that it's gotten upon release. And one of the biggest things was that the devs actually care. They're very passionate. They're going to support a smaller company that is doing, that is trying to do good things or whatnot. And all that's been said, and then they just kind of abandoned the product after season 1, or after they had a good launch, and then of course after about a month it never kind of regained its popularity, I guess you could say, that it initially had, which is not uncommon, obviously, but I still do remember a lot of people, coming in and saying, "Oh, this is gonna be the next. This is gonna kill, Diablo 4. It's gonna kill Path of Exile, because it's got better systems. In fact, Path of Exile 2, apparently, from what I'm seeing in the Last Epoch chat, pretty much stole from Last Epoch's in-game systems or whatever, or took a lot of stuff from there. And of course, D4 took the Gritter affix thing from them or whatnot. I mean, like Last Epoch has done a lot of good things, but it's like, despite how well received it was, it ended up just kind of being on the back burner. So 6 more days and then you can die in peace playing Path of Exile 2. Yeah, so like I just feel like for those who, I feel like it's going to be less of an issue in Path of Exile 2, but the inevitable is going to, come to play in a sense. This isn't to say that, Path of Exile 2 isn't going to be, miraculous in many different ways, but, reality is people get bored. It's always exciting for like the fresh new thing that's like really hyped early on, and then some people stick with it long term if it's something that they want to play long term, and then they move on to something else, or they just move on to something else. So I don't know. I have more faith in the PoE 2 devs than the Blizzard ones, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm pretty much neutral. I don't really know the PoE devs, PoE 2 devs, so I really can't comment. I can only say from the consumer perspective. I have personal perspectives with the D4 devs, so my perspective is probably a little bit different than most, of course. But yeah, I guess like I said, I just think D4 is just not managed well. I don't really think it's really the devs as much as it is, what they have the green light to do. To put it into perspective, I'll give you guys a better idea of what I mean by that. I talk about it a lot, and maybe the analogy doesn't necessarily stick. But if you watch sports, if you watch basketball or football, you can be like this extremely good player, but if you have a shitty coach, then your potential isn't going to be realized until you play for someone else. We see it all the time in sports. All the time in sports. Just say Doc Rivers. You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes we want to blame the player for not doing as well, but then sometimes they can be in a situation to where they're only doing what they're told. And they have to do what they're told because the coach is the coach and they can pull them out for doing anything, whatever. So I don't know if Activision had anything to do with the ancestral drop ratio 1 and or allowing the state of SB to be released. I'm sure the ancestral drop rate was definitely more towards the devs, but the Spiritborn is probably not the devs. Again, people like being extremely OP. So it's good for sales. And I'm sure they knew some of those bugs beforehand. Guarantee you there were some devs that actually wanted that fix. That's all I'm gonna say. But like I said, remember in NK or N7. Remember N7. The Blizzard devs has considerably more red tape than the GGG devs. Because remember, Blizzard used to have free reign to do almost whatever they wanted to. And that was back when we loved Blizzard. You remember Blizzard back in the day? Like the reason why we actually play Blizzard games now is because of Blizzard of old. You want to know what the big difference between the Blizzard of old and the Blizzard of new? Blizzard of old was a much smaller company, like GGG. They pretty much had the ability to do almost whatever they wanted to do. They weren't tied up by shareholders and investors, having a hand in things, or as much of hands in things. The moment that they merged with Activision, we ended up getting Diablo Immortal. Diablo 3 became a train wreck. Lots of people left the company. Blizzgate. Poor quality releases. Instead of the whole Blizzard soon model went away the moment that they merged with Activision. You never heard that before after they merged. I mean, it's kind of obvious. I know not everybody pays attention, but like when you get gobbled up by a much bigger company and you no longer get to make the shots or decisions anymore about your own game, stuff happens. That's why I relate this to sports. Like I said, you can have the best players in the world on your team, but if you have a shitty coach, it ain't gonna matter. You know, we're gonna be sitting there cursing at this guy and being like, why can't this dude play? You know, like I know he played in college. Like he was a baller in college. He got to the NBA. He ain't doing, you know, he's playing the 3 now instead of playing the 1. Like, what's going on? People blame him, but no one really thinks about the fact that it's probably the coach. He didn't just all of a sudden fall off like that. At least not always the case. With that being said, though, I think I was going to segue into something different. That wasn't the the topic I was trying to segue into. I guess what I'm saying in general is that I actually might be a little tired of the action RPG formula. And I think I realized that because I mean, I talk about, you know, the action RPGs and like what I like and what I don't like and stuff like that. And like watching Last Epoch today on the live dev stream, he wasn't doing anything wrong, but it's just none of that was really catching my interest at all. Like nothing of what he was doing was catching my interest. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just it didn't really appeal to me, like at all. Anything that he was doing on the live stream. Then not only that, but I was watching PoE 2 actually today on Rob's stream a little bit. He was like he was watching some like Act 2 stuff. And like I was really excited watching it earlier, and then I feel like the more videos I watch and the more things I spot, like the slightly less interested I become. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just that I think, you know, how everyone gets caught up in the initial excitement or whatever. And for me, it's usually the combat. So like the systems or whatever, you know, whatever is whatever for me. But like, I guess the more and more I start to see the combat, initially I was like, you know, wow, that's actually really cool. And then like the more I look at it, I'm like slightly just kind of like going like, well, you know, it wasn't bad. It's just that like, I'm wondering if personally, am I really feeling the same way about action RPGs now? Maybe I'm kind of burning out of the genre, if that makes sense. And that could very well be a thing. You say you're not watching or consuming any PoE 2 content? Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to become a, you know, like a avid content creator in Path of Exile. Like if I do play Path of Exile, or well, not if, when I do play it, I'm just gonna, you know, plan on being just a regular player, I guess. I don't really have much interest in trying to do like actual content for the game. Not only that, but I doubt I can really do any realistic content for the game anyway. Like let's be honest with as many people that are in that space. So like doing videos and stuff is probably just suicide at this point. So honestly, just doing more than just enjoying the class that I play and maybe making some like planners or something later on down the road is just like might be the best play. He said, I don't know, after the changes I saw in accessibility for new players to PoE, I think I'll probably fully switch to PoE too. I always wait. I wait until I play it before I have a I guess a grasp on it. Like it's like I'll put it this way. I can sit there and pull up a bunch of content creator videos about them switching full time, the last epoch and stuff, or full time about this new game coming out. Even like not even in like this genre. Like you can go to any genre of video games. You know, the newest fresh thing comes out or whatnot, and everyone's like, yo, I'm definitely gonna play that. I'm gonna switch to this full time. You know, XYZ, and then like literally like a month later, it's like completely different. and you guys know what I'm talking about. Like you guys know, like you guys are not oblivious to this fact, I'm sure. But that's like exactly what happens. I'm not one of those guys that speaks that into existence until I actually play it. And then when I play it, it's gonna be like, oh wow. And be like, oh wow, this is actually really, really fun. And then I can go, okay, I can see myself playing this long term. Or it can go the other way and be like, you know, good stuff, but just not for me. And then, you know, just move on from there. That's literally the audience demanding it, though, to be fair. Demanding what? You mean like content creators make content like that? Like to ride the hype? I mean, it does make for great clicking, though. It makes for great, like, you know, viewers and, like, you know, YouTube or whatnot. Content creators pretending to switch when they're obviously not. I guess that's fair. That's fair. And sometimes the viewers love that drama stuff. That's also fair. And sometimes some content creators may, you know, obviously, you know, maybe had every intention of switching, and then I guess they played a little bit more of it or whatnot after hyping it up for a while and just realized that it wasn't as good as it, you know, that they hyped it up to be. And like I said, this is not just action RPGs. This is just literally any genre of video games. I see it all the time in the fighting game community too as well, all the time. I will almost arguably say it's worse in fighting and the FGC. Was there ever a time that you thought early days of D4 that you were gonna walk away from it? Yeah. Yeah. The problem was that honestly the problem was that there really wasn't anything else out there that could really grab my attention long enough to pull me away from the earlier days of D4, if that makes sense, right? Like, at least that early. I mean, there were some bangers, don't get me wrong, but they weren't like long-term staples. Like long-term as in like I can kind of grind in this game and play this for a while. Like some of those were like one-offs, like maybe some fighting games I really wanted to play that came out, like MK1, Street Fighter 6, and you know that kind of came out around roughly that, you know, that same year, and of course Zelda and some other things, but they weren't games that I can like spend hundreds or thousands of hours in, if that makes sense, like I can for a game like this. What am I trying to test now? There's a couple of things I kind of want to test right now, but yeah, I think that's the case right now. So like Path of Exile 2 has a shot at doing that. Like it has a real shot at being able to pull me away from Diablo 4 in terms of like time spent, in a sense. There's a shot. Again, I'm not gonna be the one, you know, make a video and tell you, yo, you know, Dockside Rogue, you know, Rogue Elite to Ranger Elite, Path of Exile to full time switch. let's go. You know, I'm not gonna make any of those videos like that, right? However, I do hope it catches my attention for a while. There is, you know what, you know what's funny though, Picha? You mentioned Monster Hunter, and like I literally was thinking about that this past week or whatever. Because doesn't Monster Hunter come out in like late January, early February, or something like that? And like I actually did have like maybe 400 to 500 hours of like Monster Hunter World, probably a little bit more than that. Am I planning to play Path of Exile too? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna try it. Like, I mean, there's literally almost no reason for me not to try it. The combat looks great, right? So I'm actually excited about that because combat for me is the most important, and they seem to have put a lot of focus on combat, and so for a player like me, that is important. So. VSNK, appreciate the sub. Dynasty Warriors in January. I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors series in forever. Like forever. But I might. See, I tried PoE, but if it's just too complicated. I feel like PoE 2 is gonna make it easier to get into. Not easy, but easier. Than the original Path of Exile. You can play the demo of the new one if you see if I like it. Is it on Steam? I might consider that if it's on Steam. All right, so for those who are wondering what in the hell am I doing right now, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out how to. So as I've been theory crafting about this whole new Reign of Arrows thing, just from the patch notes, I feel like we're gonna have to, because Flurry is not gonna be able to proc whatchamacallit anymore. So we'll have to go either a core skill to stack precision stacks, or we go with a basic attack to do it. But a core skill means that I have the potential to be able to proc precision on accident. However, that means if you can count your precision stacks on the bar, like 1, 2, 3 Reign of Arrows, or 1, 2, 3 Smoke Grenade Reign of Arrows, because they buff Macroll, unfortunately. Well, fortunately and unfortunately. So it's almost too good to not use. Your rotation is going to consist of a core skill, Smoke Grenade, Reign of Arrows. Almost every rotation. And problem with that is that I can't recommend that on like Maxroll or anything. And I mean, like, that rotation is too complicated, and I'm gonna say too complicated, but it's just not fun. Like, it's legit for like the try. Like, I'll probably end up doing it, but even I'm probably gonna get to a point where I just don't want to do all that all the time. Sometimes. So I guess ideally, if you don't want to spend your precision stacks on accident with a core skill, and maybe not have to worry about that rotation, then we can just do a basic skill instead. So you're looking at having to put on Shard of Varathiel, I guess. Basic attack or whatever. But the problem with that is that you can't get your energy down fast enough because you're cooldown capped already. So even though we have like ultimate cooldown on Reign of Arrows, tempers coming next season or whatever like that, we're already capped with the amulet already. So all that won't help anything. The only way to really lower it even more is if you have enough skill ranks into Rain of Veils to be able to lower it enough. So that's kind of the issue. Not kind of the issue, but it is the issue. It's definitely an issue of some sort. I'll put it that way. Let's hear Monimont. Let's do Monty. No, let's do. Wait, what's up here? Bacom. Okay, so let's do Pac. OP would be better about getting people to immerse in the game. Yeah, I mean, I from the looks of it, as someone who doesn't play much of that Path of Exile at all, like I mean, I have like 200 hours max, which is like next to nothing. But like when watching the videos and like looking what was going on, I didn't feel completely lost. I mean, not completely lost. Obviously, there's a lot I don't understand, but I didn't feel completely lost. The stuff that people were explaining, you know, made sense. Then again, I guess maybe my experience is probably not the best to go off of or go by, but clearly tooltips and PoE 2 is a lot better than the first one. Is this game on Steam? Yes. Imagine using Rain of Veils after they finally gave you your emote a chance. What up, Danger? Yeah, well, you know, I still have to write the Maxroll guide. So I gotta at least do that. Figure out a way to make this work for people's. Not to mention, they're also trying to make it a range build in a sense, or a, you know, like a range, like an actual range rogue in a sense. And I'm very curious to see how that works out, because I've been complaining about the fact that there's been no range rogue builds at all in D4 because of the way the game works. Much like Diablo 3, you know, for a long time there really was no range builds in Diablo 3. But I digress. Like it might have the range tag or the marksman tag, but the reality is you're playing it up close. Let's be honest. Can it OP? No. A tier max. Okay, so this isn't too bad. Wait, where's my Vex? Okay, proc Vex, proc it. There we go. Okay. Alright, we're gonna have to remove Starless, guys. Starless, guys, is gonna be a problem if I try to do this. So we need to remove Starless. Let's go with something random. Regen. Do I have anything with invigorating, not invigorating, innovation on it? Come on, tell me I have a ring with innovation on it. Or did I get rid of those? Oh, there it is. Let's do the innovation. Sweet. Wait, what was here? Hold on. I'm so tired. You said Vex, not looking for the lead character. Okay, so I guess you could do this. Like, this is plausible. That's actually not that bad. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Now, if I ran Crown, it'll be even better. But there's no way to run. There's no way to run Crown while Trick Attacks is still bugged. Fingers crossed that they fix it. Incoming season 7. Maybe if I complain loud enough or whatever, or threaten to play PoE 2. I don't know. What I gotta do, fam. I mean, I'm playing PoE 2 anyways, but they ain't the point. They ain't gotta know yet. No, I'm kidding. Also too, N7. I have no idea what Rod was thinking with this tweet. That's just like, and like there's nothing. No one can defend that. Yeah, sure, a little bit is kind of taken out of context because technically speaking, you know, a lot of action RPGs kind of, I guess you say like the Diablo 2 formula has been borrowed a lot for other action RPGs. So he's not technically, he's not wrong on that front, but for one, he's the wrong person to say it. If it was David Brevett that said it, a little different story. And two, you didn't really work on any of the action RPGs like that during that time frame to even make a statement like that. And three, like, unless you're like have a monopoly on the market in which Diablo 4 does not, or Diablo right now does not in general. Well, I guess you say more casuals play Diablo 4. Like, there's probably more people playing Diablo 4 than the other action RPGs right now, period. But it doesn't have that monopoly to sit there and be that cocky and then go like, you know, no, you can't. You literally can't be. The timing was bad. There was a lot of things that was just bad about it. You can't defend that. There's just no way to there's just no way to defend it. Like even like your most fanboy of fanboys of D4, you can't defend that. That was just bad. Like I read that and it was cringe. I'm just like, oh man, bro, why? Why, sir? Why? But when you have people like that we have individuals who are at the helm like that, it doesn't give your game a good look at all. Oh, bro, I can't even like. I heard he's been on the podcast after that tweet and actually doubled down on it. Do you have that podcast anywhere? Like, just hearing about it and like, you know, actually seeing it. I guess that I won't be able to play PoE 2 and the servers will melt into molten lava. Oh yeah, it absolutely will. I don't plan on getting getting into like maybe 3 or 4 hours afterwards, maybe. Like, okay, so I can do it. So I can technically do it this way, and I can actually do it this way without Beast Swab is. So that gives me a free slot. Yeah, because I mean I can do this without Beastfall. Yeah. However, I really can't go Crown until and there's really no way to spend more energy than how I'm spending it right now. Like, the Crown makes the most sense, and if I have more ranks into invigorate, like innervation, I could probably sustain Crown. So I would need 2 rings with innervation. Then again, I don't know, because I won't be able to go Fist of Fate. I just realized that. Like, I won't be able to actually go Fist of Fate because I might have to use Shadow Grass, which means that I might have trouble getting my energy back as easily. But I got plenty of shit to test or I lose your job. What do you do? I mean, I guess I can just play I can play PTR, I guess, until the servers are live. That gives me time to actually like you reroll Dancing Goblins. That sounds fun. Can you sacrifice a crit for life on crit? Actually, so I could do that. I can just substitute life. I wouldn't even do a crit fix. Okay, well maybe for others. I probably maybe I guess you can do Dex or something on like a thing here. Or I guess like on one of the rings, like I can probably sacrifice attack speed on one of the rings or something for it. Okay. So Vex is gonna be okay. So here's the thing. So I just realized there's something. So check this out. So granted, while I am capped, right? I'm capped on CDR, right? So I'm capped on CDR. Without Vex, it takes me a little while to get the cooldown off. But the moment that Vex procs and I get 1 more second off, it feels a little better. And like Vex is only what three ranks. So if the Shadow Grass gloves gives me about what, I assume that the marksman skills is probably gonna go to like +7, +8. That should allow for decent amount of cast, maybe.
Yo, dog,
Crap
son.
you with the raid.
We just got raided, son. You know how we
What's
do.
up, sir?
Drop my new beat for these new viewers.
Sheezy out. What's up, Craft?
Tixie, I rated my stream with 5 views.
How's it going, sir? You say the thing you stood up for you is the death trap being a grenade. Nah, it's just skill out grenade multipliers, right? Big buffs to pure death trap builds. Yeah. I mean it kind of needed it though. If it's going to compete with any precision builds or any alchemical advantage poison setups or whatever, then it kind of needed that. Or even maybe in some of the newer shadow clone stuff buffs or whatever. I think it was a good idea to give some more oomph to Death Trap knowing that. So like all the ultimates have gotten some nice juice to them in a sense. So I think it's a good idea that they did do that. Now when you say pure Death Trap, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get like a pure Death Trap. Well, I mean Death Trap being as in like only casting Death Trap, right? You're still gonna have to cast a core skill in between to get your energy down low enough, because you can only get Death Trap down to 10.25 unless you can get a enough ranks into. Well, no, still no, not really. Actually, I don't even know what is the Death Trap's rank 5 ability. You can make it a core skill. Well, I mean, it will still have a cooldown though. Like, I don't know if it's going to just all of a sudden just spend energy now. At least it didn't state that. Like, so it might have the core skill tag, but I don't know if it's gonna like if it's gonna lose the cooldown and then spend energy. I mean, that'd be kind of dope if it did do that. But nothing in the patch notes made me feel like that was gonna happen. But I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they just didn't finish that part in the patch notes. I have no idea. So maybe it does, and it does spend energy or something. Like I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out. But yeah, I didn't get that vibe when reading it. Beast Fall can make it spit energy. That? Yeah. I wonder, can you spend enough energy to be able to spam it though? Like, if it becomes a course, well, but then it will spend all of your energy, but then I guess you'll be able to get all of it back because you casted a ultimate. So like, it'd be a lot of pull and tug. Didn't Woody have a version that was spam? No, it had Barrage in it, remember? So it looked like it was just spamming Death Trap, but it was canceling the animation of Barrage into Death Trap, Barrage into Death Trap, Barrage into Death Trap to be able to cast it like very often. But you can't just cast Death Trap by itself and that's it. You have to you have to 1-1 it basically. Much like Overpower Flurry is a lot of the same way. You can run the cast super plus resource rune. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see if you can spam it though. Like I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool if you could. I mean, then maybe I might actually try it. Oh yeah, the damage wouldn't be capped, but I'm saying like if the cooldown is capped, then being able to spam just Death Trap over and over again might be difficult to do without some sort of Beast Fall / different core skill. They might have done that on purpose, but again, like I said, I mean, who knows, right? Like, here I am still coping with the fact that Shadow Clone might be able to proc Rain of Arrows with the Shadow Graph's gloves. So, I mean, or sorry, the Shadow Clone from the Shadow Graph's gloves might possibly be able to cast an ultimate skill, right? So, like, who knows? You have a CDR rune too. So here's the issue, Dangerous. Then you cannot get Death Trap below 10.25 without extra ranks into your skills. So you have a 10-second cooldown at your best case scenario. You have a 10-second cooldown. So even if you run Shaco, for instance, right? You run Shaco, you get plus whatever like that. That drops down to 9, right? Obviously Shaco becomes a little interesting because you run Shaco, you lose a lot of damage, but you have a closer chance of maybe be able to get it off of cooldown just a little faster. It's it. What is this? Is this D4? I mean, you did select the category, right? I mean, when you selected the D4 category and you clicked on the on the D4 stream, were you expecting a different game? It's like going to. It's like going to. It's like going into. It's like setting your GPS for target, and then you drive the. And then you set your GPS to target. You walk into target, and then you go and you ask the people inside target, "Wait, what is this target?" I wasn't aware that this is target. Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, there you go, Pete. Yeah. What Peach just said. So they're just saying you can't go below 9 seconds, at least right now. Now, well, actually, no, you won't be able to go below 9 seconds next patch either. Now you can go below 9 seconds on Renevero's next patch, but you cannot do it for Death Trap. Because with next patch, the Shadow Glove or the Grasp of Shadow's Glove will also add ranks to marksman skills, which applies to Renevero's because it's a marksman skill. So you might be able to get that down to like 7 or 6 seconds, possibly, but you won't be able to get DT down any further than 9. That's why I'm saying, like, you won't be able to spam it because how are you going to reduce your cooldown enough, or how do you reduce those 9 seconds of cooldown without doing something drastic like Beast Fall? DT is grenade core. We can get more ranks. Rank the core skills on gloves and Starless, guys. I guess the thing is with that though is that going to apply to Death Trap's ultimate cooldown though? You should play PoE 2, my brother, when it comes. Well, yeah, of course, but like, were you expecting me to play PoE 2 now when I can't play PoE 2? I mean, yeah, I'm gonna play PoE 2, but I can't do it right now, so I'm theory crafting some D4 stuff until then for next patch. Is that okay? The nerds coming back and see. Oh, nerds? You mean mercs? Well, mercs are permanent. They're not seasonal. But I don't know. Like, so the way that I looked at Death Trap and like the whole like core skill things, I'm very skeptical of what that actually means. Like what actually applies at that point. Like, does it just get the core skill tag? Does it actually become a core skill where you're actually spending energy instead of a cooldown? There's a lot of like what does it really mean at the end of the day? Also, what Lexi is saying too, if the core skills actually apply to Death Trap as the ultimate, will the core skill apply, the core skill ranks apply to ranks in Death Trap in terms of being able to lower its cooldown, or does it just only apply to the damage? If it gets the tag, it gets the ranks, and by extension, anything core is related because tags dictate skill interactions. Right. But I'm still skeptical if that's going to, if it's going to literally. So even if you do, let's say you are able to get 34 core skill ranks, right? And that core skill ranks does apply to your ranks of Death Trap to get your cooldown down. do we feel like Blizzard is going to allow us to be able to legit spam Depth Trap without some sort of core skill Beastfall interaction? So of course it applies. Depth Trap will gain ranks and cooldown will lower. That's, I'll put it this way. Obviously, Lexi, you've been playing long enough. That's the way that logically you would think it would work. And I don't have as much faith in Blizzard that's how that's going to actually work. I could be wrong, but Lexi, you trust his Blizzard coding? I mean, in this case scenario, he is putting a lot of faith in it, but I'm not. I'm absolutely not. I can see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can see why he thinks that way. Why he feels that way. I mean, it technically speaking, logically, it should work that way. I mean, I'm just saying, Drew, that's already that interaction. Yeah, but that doesn't always necessarily apply to all classes, though, right? I mean, Sork gets a ability to be able to apply crowd controls on bosses to where it actually works, and yet it's only a Sork thing. But I mean, like I said, I don't know. We'll see. If so, that'd be pretty cool though, because it is kind of clunky to do a 1-to-1 ratio on Depth Trap. I mean, Depth Trap being able to spam Depth Trap without running Barrage in between or whatever would feel a lot better. Oh, I have Shaco here. All right. Ideally, without doing some sort of really jank setup, I would like to do Crown, but we all know that Cal is just going to be too good. Unfortunately, still. Unless they do something in the VTR. Also, I'm probably not gonna have Fist of Fate either, so that's another thing. I wouldn't be able to keep my energy up that way. They're starless, but the whole idea is just to get it down fast enough so I can. And Crown allows for that. And actually, Crown would actually we have to break the game for them. They can't possibly test everything they put out. That's why there's so many unattended interactions bugs that make it through a lot. I guess, yeah, but my problem is that when we do break the game and there are a lot of unattended interactions, I get a little salty because those things don't get fixed until like later. So you can show them and break it and whatever of that nature, and then sometimes it just ends up being part of the game for like a couple of seasons. You know why? I don't know. You know, there's probably some things behind the scenes or issues or whatever, miscommunication, whatever the case may be, but Totem Dagger died before I went live. Well, problem is that there's like 2 more bugs with Totem that still exists, and it's not being addressed next season. So Totem has and still will be bugged since season 5. So we may not see a change until season 8. Ironically, however, it's the only reason why Barrage Victimized is even a thing is because of Totem. If it wasn't for Totem, you would not do Barrage. You wouldn't do Victimize or Barrage at all, really. Honestly, Heartseeker is actually better for that situation. It's literally due to the totem that it's even relevant. So, and it's because of the bugs. Bugs. 2 bugs, I think, is with it. Okay. It's how the world works in the Diablo like action RPG. Nah, for sure. Like Deadpool said, educated wishes. It's like this really would not work without Fist of Fate. There's just no way for me to get enough resources back. Well, actually, what if I did this and then I also added? I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of what I'm doing, but. Actually, it makes it a little easier to cast, actually. Because I was running out of resources earlier. Okay, so if I did that, I had to go... Let's do this real quick. It's actually not that bad with Starless. I've come to terms that I'll enjoy my time PoE 2 more than Diablo 4. I'll save my reservations. I'm still reserved. My assumption is based on the combat. If the combat is more fun, I'll probably enjoy my time more and have to res out too. But I feel like I'm also getting to the point where I might be burned out on action RPGs in general. I'm also kind of starting to feel like that. And maybe it's just me just trying to look for, you know, enjoyment in action RPG still, kind of thing. Because as much as I think I might enjoy the combat and PoE too, like my desire for maybe more complicated rotations or like a more skill-based competitive thing just will not exist in action RPG. Like that's not going to exist in Path of Exile too. So like, I almost just feel like I'm going to enjoy the like hopefully, you know, well, hopefully I'm going to enjoy the combat a lot. Obviously the systems and stuff like that, but that those things don't appeal to me as much as the combat does. But I think I'm going to have like similar gripes at the end. Oh, you found it? The rod double down, dude. I swear. The other side that just chooses between Ranger and Mercenary. Probably Ranger for sure. You can get it and post it. It's fine. I'm salty about that when they started embracing bugs. Started in AOZ Season 2 when they feature ball. Yeah. I still without it's gonna be so hard to sustain your energy though. Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, let's do that, and then at the Starless, because I have both of them. It's probably not good. So with the Starless Cuts, I can almost do a 3-to-1. It's like 4. Yeah, it's a 4-to-1 with Starless guys. Yeah. That's a rotation, basically. At least with this. 4 Heartseekers, or 4 core skills. 3 core skills or 4 Heartseekers without Beastfall. Then the Smoke Grenade, because Dance Macro B got buffed, so you kind of have to take it. Yeah, there's a complex rotation. Probably gonna drop this down to 2. Yeah, but I have to go the other elixir to do that. Just state of the game, I feel pretty good right now. To be fair though, I don't think the game is in a bad state right now. I don't know about feeling pretty good, but I don't think it's also like it's not like in a bad state. I think the idea of like the whole D4 bad coming back into play has a lot more to do with DOE2's demo release than it does like the actual state of Diablo 4. If you kind of remove the obvious, like if you let's just say you just remove like Spiritborn out of the equation, and we got a chance to see what actual progression really looks like in a sense. Some of the things are actually okay. Keyword okay. Obviously there's problems. Spiritborn kind of exaggerated a lot of, or showcased a huge rush passed through a lot of these systems that they wanted you to take your time with. So like the perspective of like how the game's content ended up, being rushed through had a lot to do with how many people were playing Spiritborn. The way we drive engagement is by selling more battle passes. There's nothing to worry about TOG. We're in the community online, are in a minority bubble. So the thing is that like, obviously Diablo 4 is not gonna die. Like it ain't going nowhere. The whole idea that, when I hear that from any time like a new game comes out, like this is the next WoW killer, this is going to like this is gonna be the next MMO and whatnot, and WoW, ended up standing the test of time, as you can tell. Even if it's not in like the best of states of games at the moment, no other MMO has ever toppled it. The only thing that has ever came close is Final Fantasy 14, and that's after they did a remix to it, right? So, and that didn't kill WoW, even though I think that's the better MMO out there currently, in my opinion, but didn't kill WoW. With that being said, I do think there is gonna be a lot of curiosity in the action RPG space to try Path of Exile 2. The idea that no one's gonna play D4 when Path of Exile 2 come out is just complete opium, obviously. That people are just going to prefer different things. Simply. I think D4 isn't in a good state. PoE is just overshadowed about having a chance to revolutionize the genre. Yeah, I can see that take for sure. I'll play both. That's the plan. At least that's my plan. It's just the next top build. Well, I mean, I don't have everything from the patch notes, so I'm just kind of testing rotations at the moment. I'm trying to figure out like what to do with it. Talking about philosophy ideas here, not bugs. We have no meaningful end-game class flexibility or fun itemization a year into the game. I'm not a doomsayer, but that's not pretty good vibes. So I don't really know about class flexibility. Well, when you say class flexibility, what do you mean by that? Like out of like curiosity, fun itemization. I do think that season 4 was a huge step in the right direction in terms of itemization is concerned. I don't know if I find the itemization bland more so than I find some of the in-game progression systems bland, like Paragon. Like Paragon's extremely bland, and doesn't do anything besides gives you more damage and more defense. Glyphs are bland. That idea is pretty bland. I think itemization is actually okay. In game, I guess in game is concerned. That's a hard one because I guess meaningful end game would mean something different for different players, different people. So you can kind of state that there's no meta progression in the end game, and that's very true. Like we don't have a meta progression end game except for Pit, and Pit's heart, and the meta progression for Pit is more so of a player made thing, and it's pretty horrible. But in terms of end game is concerned, for the non-blasters, there's plenty to do, I guess. As you know, a lot of people generally don't even make it through most of the activities like that. But so from our perspective, yeah, we blast through it. There's no meta progression besides Pit, and Pit feels really bad to progress into. And then yeah, we complain, and we have every right to complain about that. But we're also in like the extreme minority in that case scenario. So that's why I said when we say meaningful, I guess that would mean different things for different people. Do I think that they should have more meta progression stuff? Yeah, for sure. Like, I hate the fact that the only meaningful progression and content is Pit, and you know I hate it because I don't do it, and I complain about it every stream. so you know I hate it, right? But I also know that very small population of players care about that, or care about me whining about that. I'll put it that way. But like I said, I mean, and this is not backing up Rod by any means about what he says in a sense. Just again, if you're a casual player, like casual-ish type player, the game is probably in a better spot for you, for a casual player than for a player that plays this as their main game. I'll put it that way, because the things that we struggle with, bottlenecks and materials, that really shouldn't be the case. Economy being out of control. Like there are a lot of things that casual players don't really like deal with in that sense. So like, I would consider Rod a casual. So like, from that perspective, he's probably not. I don't really know how to really put it. Let's just say that like I don't like him speaking on Diablo 4. That's probably the best way to say it. I don't really like him speaking on Diablo 4. You sacrifice one player for that. All right, bye, Peachy. You're out. Put up your sword. Many of us would like to believe that D4 was basically an evolution of D2 that can be played nonstop forever. Not well, so that's not okay. So that's the one thing I will say that's not fair, because literally they did state in the beginning that like you're going to seasons and stuff are built for you to play, to come and play, have your fun, and then once you do other things there is to do, you go play other games. Like they said that. Hell, even GGG said that. Jonathan said that, and like the most, not Jonathan, sorry, Chris Wilson actually said that about Path of Exile and Path of Exile too. Like it's meant for you to have fun, do all the stuff you want to do in a particular league or season, and then go play other stuff. Nobody expects you to play the entire season. Like neither action RPG expects that. It's just not a plausible thing. The idea of this whole live service, seasonal league or whatever type content is to bring you back for, you know, a couple of weeks, maybe a month of fun, and then you go do something else. Like that's just how live service games nowadays are sold. Whether is that a good thing or not, you know, obviously that can be debated, but I don't think, you know, Blizzard nor any company that does seasonal content right now is leading you to believe that you're supposed to play the entire season and play only their game. That's just simply not the case. PoE 2 would be richer mechanics, at least from what I've seen. I'm looking forward to that. Would you recommend Rain of Rails over Rapid Fire? From a fun factor, yes. From a fun factor point of view, yes. I would recommend Rain of Rails over Rapid Fire. If you're not doing any pushing at all, like if you're not trying to push like super duper push or whatever, then I would absolutely play Rain of Rails over Rapid Fire. Like, because Rain of Rails is literally better for any other content in the game. Man, can you tell me what is the experimental Paragon board for Rain of Rails for? It was something I was experimenting on during stream, because cheap shot is like bugged at the moment, and that is like double dipping when the target is frozen. So I made a Paragon board based around that fact. I didn't keep it that way because, generally speaking, you're not around the mobs long enough for you to actually really use cheap shot to like fullest extent. But people kept asking me on stream, hey, you know, what's that board? Are you gonna write that board on here? Are you gonna put that board? So I think I just decided to make an experimental board so people have access to it or whatever, without actually changing the guide to that board, if that makes sense. So you can totally do it. Just keep in mind that to utilize cheap shot, you're gonna have to stick around the mobs more often, which if you're speed farming, then you're not gonna get that much benefit from it. But if you're pushing, you probably would. As someone as a PoE 1 player, I can tell you PoE 2 utilizes a lot of systems from the first, so we just like them, while some of it works against and feel like PoE. I'm hoping the combat doesn't feel like PoE 1, which it doesn't look like it. The combat is what turned me away from PoE 1. It wasn't the systems, at least for me as a player that I played, you know, a couple hundred hours, which obviously isn't really nothing, like nothing amount of hours, right? But the combat could not sustain me long enough for me to continue to enjoy the other systems of the game. that's why I'm very excited about PoE 2 because, well, you know, the combat looks like it would be more up my alley, more challenging, slower paced. Might have to think a little, maybe, which isn't really much of a thing in action RPGs. So we'll see. And again, I might be just in the wrong genre of games, right? Which is why I was telling Picha, you know, I might need to, you know, try to get back into the Monster Hunter series because that might be more up my alley in terms of gameplay and challenge and stuff. I'm hoping Path of Exile 2 gives, you know, kind of gives me that feel, but if it doesn't, then yeah, I might check out some. I might actually like get seriously involved in Monster Hunter while still playing D4, but more casually, more so for the content and build guides and, you know, all that stuff. But focus more on Monster Hunter. But me and Ava had this conversation. Had this conversation before in chat that I just feel like action RPGs and well right now in D4 there really isn't much skill expression at all in like D4. Even like in the pit pushes, like there really isn't much that's challenging the player to do anything different than what someone else might do. You have to learn a mechanic in D4, and yeah, that is pretty much, yeah, that is correct. Okay, so if I go crown, then I have the option to go starless or double ring. If I don't go crown, then I'm gonna have to go double legendary ring, which is fine because there's a new legendary power, 2 ultimate powers, so I can do that I can end up slotting. So that's actually good. I can have more powers to use that I can take advantage of, if I put it that way. Lilith was fun. Yeah, see, I actually enjoyed Lilith. As with like the amount of bugs and stuff that did frustrate me towards the beginning, the fight was still fun enough for me to actually still want to continue despite the bugs. Since you already build guys for Diablo 4, I think PoE 2 will give you that itch and try to unlock high potential builds for Rangers, etc. I mean, the ability to be able to look at something or take something, theory craft it, as long as you learn the mechanic, like as long as you understand the mechanics of the game, like once you really know the game, and you understand how things work, fit, bugs, all that, you know, combinations or whatever, you know, if you're used to building things, I mean, you can kind of build in any game somewhat. However, it's going to take me infinitely longer before I like get anything good going on Ranger, just because I just don't know much of the game at all. So like, I'm going in, I'm gonna say blind per se, but I'm going in knowing I don't know much about the game, and you know, I'm just gonna just be putting things everywhere until I understand why it doesn't work. So it's gonna be a while before I kind of get something like going really well or good on the Ranger, of course. But once I understand it, once I understand why it doesn't work or why it's wrong or whatnot, and really sit down, like take a look at it, then sure, I'm sure, you know, some cool in-game Ranger build would be, will come out for that. You'll be doing that for months. There's thousands of permutations. Yeah, but I mean, meta is still develop, right? There's gonna always be some things that are just stronger than others, and depending on the content, if the idea is for like, I don't really know exactly how the in-game content really is gonna play out, but if the content, people want to feel strong and powerful. So like, if something is just considerably stronger than something else, you can have 100 different ways to do it. If all those 100 ways are nowhere near as strong as the one way or 3 or 4 waves, then it's like, content's not like Diablo. There's no Spiritborn. Even if there is no Spiritborn, because I mean, right now, I'll put it this way. Like on Rogue, and maybe that's just a perception of the different games, right? Maybe PoE players look at builds differently than Diablo in a sense. I don't know, but like, I keep telling people all the time on Rogue, I'm like, bro, you can play like 7 or 8 different Rogue in-game builds if you want to. It's not even really about the content, really. I mean, all like 8 or 9 of them that can do everything in the game and do it well. All the way up to 100, 101, or like that. Like, there's like 7 or 8 builds that can do that on Rogue. But people are only interested in the one build that can do content that is irrelevant. You see what I'm saying? How does build do with summon bosses? Oh, it's very easy. Speaking of which, there are about 12 or 13 rogue builds that can kill summon bosses in like 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds at max or whatever. So you kind of just take your pick. The Render Rails does a really good job at it. So that's my thing, Danger. Is just that, like, in the Diablo universe, I can tell people you got all these different options on Rogue, and people are just only really interested in like the one that does the highest arbitrary number and content that doesn't matter, right? But for everything else, you can choose anything. And people still want that. So like, again, I don't know if it's just a perception of maybe the players who play PoE and the way the content is there, but if I'm assuming that that's how people just want their builds, it's hard for me to see it any other way because that's all I'm used to. Like, I'm always advocating for all these different types of builds you can play and do. But I think the reality is people are just going to want the strongest thing with the least amount of effort. So whatever that is, it is going to just fly off the charts versus the other thousands of things you can do. Hell, I mean, technically speaking, there were, over a couple of thousand combinations you can do in Diablo 3, which is laughable. If you like hearing it right now, it's laughable to sit there and say that that's not true. I'm like, yeah, that is true. But obviously, like, only 1% of those combinations are even relevant. Is there a road build that can clear 100 easy without needing to fish for a boss with ads? So there are more bosses with ads than bosses without ads. I think. Yeah, I think so. There's slightly more bosses with ads than without ads. But no, like no rogue build is going to easily just smash 100 without. Well, let me rephrase that. You can do a 100 right now on probably 5 or 6 rogue builds and clear it with the boss without ads. You're not going to be able to speed farm it, but you'll be able to clear it. So you'll get there in like 3 minutes. But like on the boss, it's gonna take you some time, but you'll clear it. Dude, you can recommend the best build. Bosses can still one tap you even on max resistances. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I do hope, I mean, I'll put it this way. I do hope it's like that in PoE 2, per se. I do really hope it's like that in PoE. Like, the combat in PoE 1 did not excite me at all. Because it really felt like kind of blasting one skill. Super hyper movement through everything, except for when you had to do like a Uber boss or something. But I think that's kind of like my gripe with most action RPGs nowadays in general. Like, I want to be able to use all of my skills in the skill bar. Like, I don't necessarily want to just build a build where I just hold down right click and like that's my build. But that's I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm probably in the extreme minority of that. Like, I want to push all 6 buttons all the time because I have all 6 buttons on my bar. Like, why do I only want to use one button for one skill and have all the other buttons just be for buffing things, and that's it? Like, I want to have different skills for different situations and have a reason to use all 6 buttons on my bar. But the whole idea of like, you know, holding down right click or just pressing right click and stuff just dies and that's your build, and like has never really interested me. Now, granted, that's how it's always been. Like, even back in like Diablo 2, it was like that, right? Like, Diablo 2 was like that. Like, you literally just, you know, you were building around one skill and then you just, you know, pop mana potions basically and spam that skill. So that's how the genre, you know, has been. So I get it, which is why I feel like sometimes I'm playing the wrong game at, you know, and now I guess maybe when I think about it, it's like, well, why do I have all these 6 skills in the bar if I'm not going to use most of them? At least that's my thought. Have I played Elden Ring? I have not, but I have played Souls-likes before, and I do enjoy Souls-likes. Using 6 buttons is still better than spamming 6 buttons one after the other. Okay. I know I've been doing a lot of talking, but I've also been doing a lot of experimenting at the same time. 6 buttons, depending on the scenario. That's what I've envisioned when I saw different skills on the skill bar. I never envisioned, you know, one button being used like 90% of the time, and the other buttons are either auto casted via some third-party program, or you might have a movement skill that you push every now and then just to get from one area to another, and then that's kind of really it. Like, that happened in Diablo. Like that happened in Diablo 3, and that was like really boring for me. I'll put it that way. 2 is reserved for special occasions. All bosses. The thing excites me for about PoE 2 is not more blast spamming. I didn't like. Yeah, I didn't really. I don't know. I mean, granted, that's how it was. You know, things were done back then, and you know, D2 and you know, PoE kind of modeled itself after that, and you know, that became a thing. But yeah, I actually, when I did go back and play D2, even I didn't play D2 when it was, you know, when it came out, but like, when I played it as a complete noob, D2R or whatever, like the one thing I didn't like was the potion spamming. I hated that. I actually like the stamina thing. People said that they hated stamina, but I actually like stamina. That was actually, to me, I thought that was a fun mechanic. As crazy as that, as people may think, but I didn't like that at all. Is this build item specific? Because I would definitely want to try this build over rapid fire. Do exclamation mark build. Ram noodles. It is easier to build for. I'll put it that way. But I would. Actually, no, you can't. You can't do that. Never mind. Ram noodles. Actually, since you're on YouTube, so hold on. Yeah, so if you're on YouTube, actually, Ram noodles, you can just check out my YouTube guide. I have a video guide on YouTube. Also, this should help you. There you go. So you can click on any of those links. JS, what's going on? Okay. All right. So verdict is I can still do. There might, if I don't want to do core skill, 3 core skill, smoke grenade, then random arrows, rotation, which is gonna feel quite awful for the majority of the player base. I can technically still kind of do a basic attack setup and remove the beast fall boost and still be able to do random arrows, kind of. But I think I have to kind of push for crown. I think you will end up with less damage overall though, only because trick attacks is still bugged and there's no bug fixes in the patch notes for PTR. So if that's still bugged, you might still have to go crown. I'm in crown but cow, which is unfortunate. The fact that you're locked into an ascendancy, make sure you commit to the class's downsize. You can't disrespect for every encounter. I'm cool with that. 75 bling. Mr. Mark says, bro, I've been having good fun with the weaving skill rogue. Been able to clear 80. Nice. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dangerous Day. I mean, I'm sold on playing it, like on trying it. Like I have 100% intent to blast it most of December. Now the verdict of what I'm gonna do past that point just depends on how much fun I'm having in December. But I have there'll be no such thing as I make, claims until I actually play. Like I have no idea what's gonna happen after I play those, a couple hundred hours in December. But I have every intent on enjoying it, learning something new, and something with, some challenging combat, I guess, which is gonna keep me interested. I expect a certain thing. Oh yeah, well see, yeah. So you have a reason to feel like you have more of a reason to feel like, or to make. But yeah, because I mean you've played one, just like I guess you could say D3 to D4. Like I knew I was gonna play D4. I knew I was gonna play it for a while because I played D3 a lot, and I can see the progression, or I wouldn't say progression, but like I guess where the game is going from D3 to D4 or whatever. I don't have that background. Like I don't have that background on Path of Exile. So for me, Path of Exile 2 is like jumping into mostly new waters for me. You do have your build for Path of Exile 2 plan out? Yeah, I have no idea. All I know is the class I'm gonna play, and that's it. I am gonna pew with whatever I find on the ground. Mess up my crafting. All the stuffs. Okay. But there's no way to really lower it any lower than this if I do Cal though. So if I do Cal the Nameless. I have to drop Starlist. No, yeah, I have to drop Starlist in. That's too long. I guess it's not. Yeah. Also the rotation of. Is that 5 shots or what? 1, 2. Yeah, that's like 5 or 6 shots, I think. Like 5 or 6 shots. If I did cow, so if I did, let's say, Crown and Starless, it would be like 4 shots or 3 shots. Yeah. Oh, babe, what's going on? Piece of what's happening. I'm kind of... Ouch. Lost all my bling. I'm experimenting with rotations for next patch, for PTR, for random arrows. Since we can't do the flurry thing anymore. And the way that they're changing precision stacks, it's gonna make it like a combo point build in a sense, at least for precision. You could still technically do it with like alchemical admixture key passive, or even close quarters combat key passive, and do like a barrage 1-to-1, I guess. But the amount of damage that you're gonna get for doing precision and kind of playing at a distance is just so big. That'd be kind of hard to suggest doing it the other way. Even if the other ways is more streamlined, I guess you could say, like easier to perform. Yeah, see. Let's go Shaco this time. Way too long. Do that. So you can kind of do Shaco. Two, three, four, five. But it almost just feels like you're doing this like this. Yeah, it's still pretty close. But the preparation, getting your cooldown down is just like not that consistent though. Like sometimes it's like it's the same amount, and sometimes it's just not. Some of it has to do with the fact that Vex has to proc first, so I can get the ranks to run over arrows or whatever. But this might be solved with. Yeah, I don't know. One more all-in, I can back. Is it able to play the Ranavero experimental build in hardcore? What do you mean the experimental build per se? You mean like what I'm doing like right now, or you mean like what's already out there? I mean, you could play what's already out there. Like this isn't like what I'm doing right now isn't for this patch. This is for me trying to figure out what to do in the PTR. If I move around a bit, the enemies will melt if you stand still to DPS. You said the experimental. Oh, you mean the Paragon board? You mean the experimental Paragon board? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, okay, yeah, that's not a build. Okay, I think you were talking about, like, you had me like thinking that there was like a you're talking about like an entire build. I'm like, no. Yeah, you could totally do the experimental Paragon board in hardcore. Yeah. Yep, you can do that. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I know this is still early to talk about per se, because I have no idea how Shadows Grasp is gonna actually work out. Sorry, not Shadows Grasp. Grasp of Shadows. I don't know how Grasp of Shadows is really gonna work out at all whatsoever. But given the changes that are there, when I'm thinking about Rain of Rails going forward, I don't know how to really make this intuitive. Like intuitive as in like, you know, you can deal near the most damage you possibly can without some sort of like ridiculous, like I say ridiculous rotation, but a rotation that's not going to be fun to play. Okay, so it seems like you have a lot of points left over. Well, that's because it's not like the board isn't a 300 Paragon board. So like it's just taking all the important stuff. Now after that, if you want to fill out a glyph or something, you don't have to, you don't need to, but you can. But as long as you get all the important stuff on that board, you can pretty much put all the extra points anywhere else you want. Hey, Doc, so I'm that dude who came in last season to mention the Rain of Rails build. Have I played around with Shroud of Condors? You can get 99% immunity uptime with it. You say immunity, as in like, I mean, you don't really need to be immune. This build is very tanky. And the Shroud is way too much DPS to give up. Like that +1 rank, like the +1 on all passives, just having +1 on trick attacks is like worth 23% more damage. This isn't, we're not even taking into account the other passives in general for this build, but just +1 to trick attacks because of this Shroud of False Death is worth like 23% damage. So like this chest right here is probably giving me like 50 something ish percent, probably a little, like a teeny bit more. I wouldn't give that up to become immune. I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, but Try wasn't around last season. Yeah. I get it. I get it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this season, like Rain of Rails build is actually pretty tanky. I was running like below armor cap and resistance cap, like like most of the season, just cause I got lazy trying to or you know capping myself. You know the overpowered crow body build is stronger than the mythic build on Maxroll. I can't decide which one to commit to. I don't even know. I'm gonna say they don't copy Ultimates, and if they do, you'd want to only cast Ultimates only. So Shadow always cast Ultimate. I mean, but even if they cast it sometimes, Dangerous Den, I'm not looking at it as like trying to get it to cast 100% of the time. If they do it, let's just say hypothetically they do it sometimes, it still will be worth because of the ranks on the glove. It's not necessarily, I'm not looking at it as, oh, they cast my random arrow, so that's the main feature. No, that's like the bonus feature. The main feature is the ranks to marksman skills, which is going to allow me to cast my random arrows more often. So being able to cast random arrows more often will give me more of a chance for my Shadow to even cast random arrows if it can, which is me on like high levels of copium at the moment, right? So, because we don't know. But yeah, it's the ranks, it's the skill ranks to marksman it's the reason why I want to take that glove. Mainly anything that the Shadow Clone does is just kind of a bonus at that point. If it does mimic, take some copium for Tuesday. Yeah. I'm just saying though, like ultimate damage is also fun. It was additive though, which is unfortunate. What can cast rain? Are you saying Grasp of Shadows could cast rain? The clone? Oh, okay. Well, someone says it does. Am I aiming for 300 Paragon? No. No. Nope. There's nothing that I gain or get at, you know, with 300 Paragon. Like, I get everything I want on the Paragon board. All 300 Paragon is going to do is just give me +5 dex per point. so much from the future. But he's saying that it works now, unless they change it. I don't know. But that'd be kind of funny. I have no idea, but I mean, we'll see. Again, the biggest benefit is the ranks to marksman. That's because getting that cooldown off is just going to be vital. Doesn't really help. Well, I mean, unless they just completely change how Shadow Clone works. Shouldn't it retain the skills, or I won't say shouldn't it, but like, unless they specifically say it won't work with the ultimate skills. It should retain. I don't know. Should. Keyword should, but we all know. The fact that they're making it do damage instead of emo is a major reward. I mean, it just, well, yeah. It is. But I guess would assume that the mechanical aspects of the clone itself should remain mostly the same. Like it should move and act the same, maybe just deal damage instead of not deal damage. I know I'm like overly simplifying it. I get it, but yeah. Do I think Rapid Fire Rogue can get to pit 100? Yep. There's like 8 or 9 rogue builds that can get to pit 100. At this point, it's just you choose. You choose how you want to get there. If that's your goal. So yeah, how do I keep playing? Toph. Honestly, as a content creator, I have more reasons to play it than someone who isn't making content. So generally speaking, I tend to, do build guides and stuff and experiment with different things, do different planners for players and whatnot. So like, I only play when I stream. I put it that way. Like, I don't play this game off stream. Well, I don't really game much at all outside of streaming. I'm usually pretty busy. So like, I don't really blast outside of streaming. So when I stream, I play. And so I don't get as burnt out on it as quickly due to those reasons. But if I wasn't a content creator, then yeah, I'd probably play for like maybe 2 weeks roughly every season, and that'll kind of be it for me. Like no matter how good the season is, chances are like I will blast through other content in 2 weeks, and then I'll just be waiting for next season basically. From a content creator perspective, is there a good reason to keep doing builds and guides until mid-season and end of season? That depends on how big of a content creator you are. If you're a small content creator, no. In terms of like, putting out build videos, no. If you're a large content creator, then yeah, because you'll still have enough casuals watching your stuff probably throughout mid-season ish, going into towards the latter parts of the season where that still becomes profitable for you. And it won't hurt your YouTube algorithm nearly as much as, let's say, a smaller content creator. But yeah, I don't do build guys mid-season unless the mid-season patch changes a bunch of stuff. Then it's kind of like, okay, this is a major rework. Let's, I might want to put this out there. But generally speaking, after the first 3 weeks of the season, like I do all my build guys in the first three weeks of the season, and then that's kind of it. Season 5 was short and it felt the same. Actually, I felt like season 4 had the most longevity. So yeah, I'm at pit 70 and thinking it's getting harder and harder to grow up as Rapid Fire Rogue. Well, I mean, that's gonna be the case for all builds. You're gonna the higher you go, the longer it's going to take, and the longer it's gonna, you're gonna reach a point where you just, kind of, I don't wanna say phase out, but like, yeah, if you're starting to phase out at pit 70, or if pit 70 starting to become pretty hard, then it's probably just upgrades, masterworking, those kind of things. Luminaxer, exactly. Like 100%, basically. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know, man. I don't know. I'm very much. Season 4 was a construct season. No. Season 4 was the was Loot Reborn. Season 3 was the robot construct season. That was trash. Season 4 was like the literal game changer for the game. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait until I jump into the PTR or something. But I can't. As it is right now, if everything in theory is working out like I think it's going to in my head, I'm gonna feel some kind of way. I'll put it that way, just because I'm gonna have a hard time writing the best spec without alienating the majority of players who will want to play this spec. And I'm trying to think of like what can a casual route be, because technically speaking, you could technically still do 1-to-1. Like that. Hold on, let me get my whatchamacallit. So you can still technically do 1-to-1, but it means every 4th Rainer Vero is gonna get precision. So like, if we do 1-to-1 and every 4th gets precision. Well, actually, I don't know, because I guess the marksman skill, Rainer Veros is still a marksman skill, right? So actually, that makes it even worse. If Rainer Vero still procs precision because it's a marksman skill, that means that means we go Barrage, Rain, Barrage, then Rain is procced. Well, it actually still might be every other, but it'll feel really bad if you got it. So, by the way, so if you did, if Rain Veros did proc precision or did proc precision stacks, you got, then that means you have to hit with Barrage first. So if Barrage is your first stack, then that means every other Rain Veros will get precision buff. So it'll be Barrage, Rain Veros, Barrage, then Rain Veros will proc it. Then Barrage, Rain Veros, Barrage, Rain Veros will proc it. So every other. But if you somehow mess up that rotation, like let's say you don't know because you have this big buff bar here, and so you can't see this little indicator right here. Right, you can't see that indicator right there, then you're in trouble. Because like let's say, what if Rain Veros is the first proc? Right? What if Rain Veros just because your rotation got screwed up? What if Rain Veros procs it first? Or if it's just your first stack? Then it's Rain Veros, Barrage, Rain Veros, and Barrage procs it. And then back to Rain Veros, Barrage, Rain Veros, Barrage procs it again. So so now the rotation is thrown off again. Now none of your Rain Veros will proc it if you do 1-to-1. So what if the Shadow Clone procs precision? Honestly, if the Shadow Clone procs precision, now that actually might screw up some things. If you don't go up his way, if you don't go a basic attack, and instead you choose to do a core skill, a core marksman skill to gain stacks of precision, then that will completely screw up the rotation. You have zero way of being able to control your proc for Rain Veros. So you would think that that would be a positive thing, but that would actually be a negative thing. Shadow Clone. I think he's talking about Grasp of Shadows, not like, not because I mean, if the Shadow Clone from Grasp of Shadows, I assume would have all the properties of the Shadow Clone itself. So if that procs precision, that would totally ruin things actually. Now for other builds. If you do like a combo, like an actual combo point build with basic attack, I mean, sure, I guess. Yeah. So, I don't know. There's just a lot to figure out right now that I'm kind of like, I won't say that I'm looking forward to, but like I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in a state where like I'm a little concerned about how to make this intuitive for a Maxroll guide. Like I can easily write an inferior version with like post quarters combat, or even like a imbuement version with alchemical admixture. I can do that, and then you can just do 1-to-1 rotation all day with Flurry and kind of keep that movement and all that stuff. You can just keep that. So I mean, I can do that all day, no problem. But I doubt that's going to be anywhere near the strongest way to play Renovaros, and I think that's the problem. Woody Joe really wants me to do a I don't have the gear for it. And I might actually spend some time this weekend getting the gear for it, maybe like Saturday and Monday or whatever. I don't know, for fun. But he wanted me to do alchemical admixture now, like this season with the buff. He says, "Can you make Renovaros a imbuement build with alchemical admixture?" And initially, I was just like, I don't really know about that. But I mean, he's not. I mean, that's not too far fetched, but I just don't see. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could make the. Well, next season the Shadow and Blue Imbuement Explosion should be better, but you have to spec into the Shadow Imbuement stuff for it to be good. Like, you have to use the aspects and stuff, and there's no room to use aspects. I mean, look at this. Like, the moment you put, you know, you go double sword here, right? Like, you got what? How much room do you have? Like, you got 3 slots you can use. I guess you can use a regular glove, but a regular glove is kind of crappy compared to Fist of Fate. So like, yeah, you have 3 slots of aspects, and so 2 of those are going to be taken up with Aerostorm automatically because you have to for the Rain of Arrows effect. Because I mean, your poison imbuement is going to be based off of your well, I don't know. I guess would I need the Aerostorm benefits if I did go alchemical admixture? Like, would that actually like do anything? Because it wouldn't do anything for Shadow Imbuement, I know for sure. But would it really do anything for Poison Imbuement? I'm not quite sure on this. With Perma Unstoppable with Concealment to Boss Will instead of regular pants, you can't, because how are you going to cap your armor and resistances? Like, pants is really the only place you can get armor and resist, and also barrier, because you don't, or you know, second wind or whatever. Like, you almost like have no way to cap your resist or armor that way without regular pants. You have to go like a different glove, and maybe remove Starless Skies, and so like you end up. The thing about it is that like right now with the way the game is right now, I don't think perma unstoppable is really. I don't know. Like I guess I'm not quite sure why people want to be permanently unstoppable. Like I barely ever get caught with any CC as it is. Like barely. And like you already have concealment in the build and you're spamming it, so like you would never get caught. So I don't know about having the damage loss just to be perma unstoppable when you're mostly unstoppable already, I guess. And then you lose your armor and your R-res. And damage. Because the boss is 20% and an aspect is 30%. Plus dex. Better boss damage instead of frostbitten. You're not doing any damage anyway until you stagger. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the long run. Literally. Like that's not a big enough difference. Like you're not gonna notice your boss damage be drastically better with that change. If you're gonna want, there's nothing you can do on Rogue that's going to make a big enough difference to your damage outside of stagger. Like it's just not. Unfortunately, it sucks. It sucks that it's that way. Frostburn gloves are pretty nice for that passive for all the non-physical bonuses. Yeah. I might try to build into that or something, maybe. You have a Shroud of Condurus? I do. Can you just throw it on and spam Dark Shroud just for your immunity for 10 seconds? It does. Like I guess, hey, I can kill Moss so fast in 100, but it takes 3 minutes for the boss. Well, honestly, it's not every boss that's like that. It's actually just bosses without minions. The moment you get a boss with minions, it takes like 20 seconds. Yeah, but that's just the class in general. That's not. There isn't anything you can do. Sork is in a similar situation. It's just stupid, and we've seen a lot of feedback on that already. A lot of feedback on that. In fact, I made a post about that about a month ago, almost a month ago, 3 weeks ago, roughly. About a month ago, talking about that, and literally almost, I would say a chunk of the Diablo partners agreed with that statement. But yeah. You said you tend to play the whole season, Chet? Yeah. Well, I play like on and off. But I become way more casual towards the mid to end of the season, roughly. Just because already mostly have done everything. Alright, so I guess let me just build back my Reign of Rails build. I'm done trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for PTR. I think I'm kind of still in the dark about how I'm gonna make this, I guess, work. But the reason why I'm so adamant about it is because I think Reign of Rails is probably gonna be Rogue's strongest build next season. It's already Rogue's second strongest build this season. It was the strongest build. We just didn't know it was until the patch. Or all the way up until the patch. We just didn't know. But yeah. So with something being meta, I guess, or I gotta put more effort. Not that I don't put effort, but I gotta really flesh it out. Because it's probably gonna get a lot of attention, so that's why I'm the most concerned about it. Do you think the game is in a state where if Spiritborn wasn't busted as hell, people would be complaining about the difficulty for the other classes? I don't think so. I think people would feel like they have more to do. I'll put it that way. I think people would have been not as bored with the content as fast because it takes time for you to get geared up really well to do well on other classes. Whereas Spiritborn, you know, kind of, it felt like you can kind of skip a lot of that. So I do think that there's been a little bit more longevity, but I think it'll be easier to talk about some of the other issues as a whole that Spiritborn doesn't necessarily have to go through, and we can have more conversations on that. Whereas right now that doesn't really too much exist because, well, you know, again, if the majority of your people are playing Spiritborn, then you're just not gonna see that. Which was the good sword I had? Was it this one? Was it this one? Was it this one? What's this one? I guess. I had this sword here. Let's just make a t-shirt like they're damage on Tuesdays, but damage on stagger. Yes. Yes. Agreed. Okay, I think I got all the gear. Yeah. All right, skill tree. Actually, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys know if we'll be able to port our characters and play the seasonal mechanic at the same time, or do we have to like level a new character for the seasonal mechanics? So like, do we have to like start a brand new season with a brand new character on PTR? Is my question. Like that's how it was in Diablo 3. But I wonder if that's gonna be the same way. You said no. You said we won't have to make a new character for the seasonal stuff. But like seasonal and the eternal will be different, right? Like you know how it was in Diablo, like get a snapshot of the character. But I think we can update the snapshot of our character at any point, right? So like if I want to override it, I can update it right now. All right. All right. Just curious. All right. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna have like gear lined up that I can kind of just jump in and test or whatever. Not I would rather not have perfect gear because I want like gear that I can kind of see progression from what we were doing to what we are doing, kind of thing. But yeah, that make it easier for me to get a lot of my testing out the way. I'm not gonna have much time for sure. So no, yeah, I know it won't be this season again. I'm saying like, but next season, because like I said, the way it worked in D3, when you had a PTR, and you can copy your character as many times as you want, and you can play the season, you had to make a seasonal character. So you have to start from scratch if you're going to play the season mechanic. If you're not going to play the season mechanic, then you can just port and play your character right then, if that makes sense. That's why I was asking. Is it going to be like D3 or are they going to like Huh. I think that's it. I got all my stuff. Are you guys bored of watching my watching my merc do all the work there? Flexing on the dummy. He's been flexing on that dummy for like 2 hours now. Not a step further, okay. Okay. I think that's about it. We have to masterwork this new ring now. I've been on every PTR that's to have a bit of new season stuff, but not the full meal deal. I'm pretty sure they in Diablo 3 they had the full season mechanics every PTR. They might make changes to it, like go on live based on feedback, but they usually start off with they usually have the whole thing. Yeah. So it's just PTR 2 when they include the seasonal stuff, yeah. Bro, if I get mini obscurity again. Yeah, the PTR server, like it was like one server, and it was like in the US. Was it in the US or EU? One of the two. I think it was US. Oh wow, I actually got triple crit on it. I was not expecting that. Okay. GG. Only takes to, you know, the end of the season, obviously. Do you think PoE 2 will kill this? No. No, PoE 2 is not going to kill Diablo 4. It's not going to kill Last Epoch. Is it going to be a great game? It's shaping up to look like that. There's very little reason to believe that it won't be a great game, but it's not. It's not going to kill off D4. D4 has a considerably larger player base, mostly like casuals that don't really play that often, and PoE 2 is definitely going to be a game that's a bit more difficult to get into. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot. It's probably easier to get into than Path of Exile 1, but like the games are quite a bit different from each other, and there will be people that will prefer one game over another. No one's killing anyone. You remember Last Epoch? Yeah, I remember Last Epoch. I plan on playing both games. At least that's the idea. Whether I end up playing both games is to be seen, but the idea is I would like to have another action RPG that I can kind of play in rotation as well. So that is the hopes for me. D4 can kill itself. The franchise boss, big boss, opened his mouth at the worst possible time. But here's the thing, Pisa, you're right. You're right in the fact that that was really, really bad timing. The thing is that how many casuals do you think actually look at that kind of content? They probably don't even know Rod said that. So the majority of the player base probably have no idea that he even said what he said. We know because we look at D4 content and we follow, you know, people. Yeah, most people don't even know who Rod is, or even know who the dead team is, or who's whatever. Like our bubble, we feel like it's actually larger than it really is. It's large, you know, for you know, like as a community, it feels big, but there's a much bigger community that doesn't, not community, but there's much more, there's a bigger portion of the player base that don't care or don't follow anything. I'll give you an example. It's almost like saying, like, I'll put it this way. I'll say content creation is like, what's a good spot on the map? Let's just say Japan. Let's say content creation is like this. It's like, you know, we're all on this island like Japan, right? And that's where all the other that's where all the content creators are. That's where all the, you know, people who like the new, you know, we're in this bubble. We're all like just in Japan, and then the rest of the world is the casuals, right? Like, we know because, you know, again, everything that we look up and happen is all happening in Japan, but the rest of the world may not even care. You see what I'm saying? You said the 1 or 2 million. I don't even say the 1 or 2. I don't even think we're even close to the 1 or 2 million mark. Like, there's maybe like the people who consistently consume content, like consistently consume Diablo content, is probably somewhere in, like, I would say 50 to 100,000 maybe, and that's like being generous. When I mean consistently consume content, like the more blasters or the people who do play daily or whatnot, or look at stuff daily, is probably considerably lower than like 1 million. Like, it's not even close. I mean, we can almost look at it. Change that to South Korea. It'll be more closer to reality. I was just trying to give an example, but yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Wait, is this exploit weakness? Yes. How much of this Paragon board can I keep? Okay, we got what? This is no witness. Hold on. I think we can keep most of this Paragon board. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think so. Path of Exile 2 definitely won't kill Diablo 4. Because again, even the people who don't visit social medias or stuff like that may not even know much about Path of Exile 2, or even that early access is even coming out, because they don't even consume Diablo 4 social media content, yet alone another action RPG's content, if that makes sense. But 2, even if Diablo 4 makes, you know, really bad comments and, you know, has a really bad social media presence, and people, you know, are laughing at Diablo 4 on YouTube and Twitch, most people aren't going to see that, and they're not going to care. But then what they're going to see is they log in, oh, a new season's up, okay, cool, and then they play new season, and then they see stuff, and it's like, hey, that's pretty cool, or I guess that's okay, and then they just kind of get to, you know, pretty much continue about their business as if nothing happened. So the doomers and whatnot, again, it's just Diablo is just really big. The franchise is just really big with players who don't care about that stuff generally. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing at all. You know, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just pointing that out. Like, that's the reason why WoW, like World of Warcraft, just couldn't fail. As many people kept saying that this new MMO coming out was gonna kill World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft wasn't gonna, you know, do whatever, do this or do that. And then guess what happened? You know, World of Warcraft remained at the top. Every time a new good MMO, like we're talking about good looking MMOs with good designs and stuff like that, everybody's like, oh, this is gonna kill WoW. This is the WoW killer, and it never happened that way. I only know about Path of Exile because people in Diablo chat talking about it. Yeah, like I said, this isn't like this I'm not throwing shade at anybody or anything by any means. But like this doesn't really spell the end of any other action RPGs. If anything, it's a good thing. We have more stuff to play, more things to do. When one league is like almost over, you're almost done with the Path of Exile 2 league in about a month or some change or whatever, maybe a little less time. D4 season might come out. It might be a decent season. You go try that for about 3 weeks to a month, just depending on if you like it. And then new Path of Exile league comes out. You play that. That's in my opinion, that's a W for gamers, right? Like that's a win, in my book. So I never really been about this whole rivalry of action RPGs. Just like I've never cared about the whole console wars, with PlayStation versus Xbox. Like, bruh, man, I don't care. I never cared. I mean, let's be real, PC Master Race. I'm just saying, but regardless, I just never really ever, what I'm saying. But let's be real, like be 100% real here. But I guess never really saw a reason to fanboy, with one over the other. Like, it's good that there's competition, that they're trying to one up each other, because that means it's a better product for everybody. If Sony just straight up, just dominated all the consoles and there was zero competition, then like there'll be no reason for Sony to push to be better, or other way around, etc. Unpopular opinion, maybe I can't get behind Tetris inventory anymore. So that's the thing too. I guess maybe I'm a weirdo. But what is the benefit of having a Tetris inventory system in 2024? Like, it's there, right? Like, obviously it's there, but what is the benefit behind it? Like, why does that still exist? I mean, someone tell me. I honestly don't know. But as someone who doesn't play the game like that, I can't figure out for the life of me why, having a considerably smaller inventory, so items can look bigger than other items, is a benefit. Easier to differentiate item types for people. I don't think I ever felt like I didn't know what item was in Diablo 3 or Diablo 4. Like, I don't think I ever... Actually, the thing, I don't think I've ever heard anyone complain, just in general, like seriously, just in general, I don't think I ever heard anyone complain about people not being able to tell what items are in their inventory. Like, just by looking at the icon. Then again, like I said, I never struggled with it. Like, if I have this here, this here, this here, this here, this here, and this here, like, I know which ones are which. Like, weapon, boot, weapon, ring, helmet, chest. Like, I mean, I don't have a hard time distinguishing the difference between them. But and nor have it, like, I guess not only am I saying that, but like I've never heard anyone complain about it before. That's the reason why I'm asking. I'm like, I've never heard anyone in Diablo 3 or Diablo 4 complain about not being able to tell the difference in there of the items in the inventory. Now, don't get me wrong, people are complaining about the the items in Diablo 3 or the itemization, of course, those kind of things. But I don't think being able to tell what items are which in inventory was never a complaint I heard about in Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. So I guess that's why I never really understood why they kept that, or why Path of Exile too. And even I think didn't Last Epoch keep that too as well? Maybe I'm not used to it because again, I didn't grow up playing Diablo 2, so maybe part of it might be just nostalgia, and I just I came in at the wrong time, the bad time of action RPG gaming, which is fair. I mean, you can argue that point too, right? But yeah, I just visually impaired players can profit from the Tetris style. Okay, that's fair. That is fair. But couldn't it be like a toggle, like an option? Well, I guess probably not, because you would have more of an advantage if it wasn't like that, because then you can carry more stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you would even. You know what? Screw this. We're gonna refund everything instead of me trying to like do all the things again. We're gonna just literally just put the points in. Instead of trying to finagle what I already got. But speaking about Last Epoch, who was it? I think I'm gonna stick to what I said about Last Epoch initially. I was watching the Decoy. Did you check out the live dev stream today with Last Epoch? I was there for about an hour, and then I had to kind of not watch anymore because people were just trolling at that point. And I kind of felt bad because the dude was like the dude was like cool, like the dev who was streaming was like really cool. And I felt like it was just getting trolled. There's just a lot of like, can this keep up with Last Epoch? Not Last Epoch. Can this keep up with Path of Exile 2? You think this is gonna die out? Like if that Path of Exile 2, and then people are just trolling. In the sense, is like, why would anyone play this over Path of Exile 2? And just like, it's like, y'all, seriously, like. Like I can understand one and two troll D4. I get that. But like Last Epoch, man, like y'all leave him alone. Just get 34 billion specified times a day for kicks. Die Tetris style inventory is a burden. Games have burdens back then. It was supposed to be horrible. So yeah. I get that. But I will say that, like, considering how games are today, some things have you kind of look back in and then you go, maybe I shouldn't have did that sort of type thing. I remember David Brevik actually made a comment about some things he would have changed in D2. If he had the chance to do it all over again, like what he would change. The stamina system was one of them. Potion spamming was another. And like some people did not like his comments. And people were just like, yeah, I'm glad you no longer work on the game or whatever, because like he would have made some changes to the core mechanics of the game that he felt was outdated. Which is really weird for people to say, considering how much people I looked up to David Brevik. But even Brevik himself said he would have made changes to D2 that he now kind of feels or considers would be considered outdated by today's standards. But a lot of people don't realize that CPAC was really started by 3 dudes who met on Reddit. I just think that people can be insufferering, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, there's no reason to like if you don't want to play the action RPG anymore, that's fine. Like, if it's not your cup of tea, you don't really, you may play last CPAC for a little bit, but then you're kind of, you're on to other things, then just move on to other things, man. Like, stop being a dick about it at this point. Like, legit, he and the team is doing all they can to, do whatever they need to do in the game. Like, what more do you want from what more do you want from him, man? And again, if you don't like it, then just do something else. It's I don't understand how is that difficult. And again, this is last CPAC where it never really generated any negative press. It's not like they went on record to say something real bad or tarnish their reputation in any way, shape, or form. They're just literally just having a stream and talking about their game, and people just got to be a dick about it. And I just I'm just saying, why? Is there anything cool for Rogue and the Passionos? Yeah, quite a bit. Quite a bit. Shadow Clone is probably going to be viable. It's now considered a summon, and it's going to get all your buffs now. So Shadow Clone is a big W. Caltrops you can throw now. No longer are you jumping back anymore. Also a very big W. They reworked Rain of Arrows to be something that we don't really know what it is exactly yet, but we just know that it's going to be a better quality of life to use. Yeah, quite a few good rogue changes. They still got some ways to go, though. There are still some things that I feel like are still pretty much ignored. Like, Inner Sight is still not in a great position, no matter what they're doing with it. But I mean, I guess baby steps. I don't know. Yeah, I will say watching that last CPAC stream really kind of made me a little mad. A little mad with people in general. Have you ever experienced Diablo 2 Iron Maiden? No. Nope. I have a total of maybe 8 hours in Diablo 2, and all of that was in was in D2R basically, and I streamed basically all of that. So it was fun times for my chat. I'll put it that way. It was fun times. I have fun too. I actually have fun playing. Definitely an experience for me, because you get so used to a lot of the quality of lives that some things just seem so weird if you haven't played it in that time before. So running out of arrows was I was that's a thing. You can actually run out of arrows. I mean, logically it makes sense, right? He has stamina and um see, devious is what I hear. Okay. I think that is all. That is all. Because now I gotta fill out. Alright, is it really just 160 here? No, it's not. Okay, I was already say. I'm like, I know it's more than that. 90. Okay, yes. That's about what it is. Yeah. Guess what else is there for me to take? 69 intel. I'm missing one intel here. There it is. I guess the rest is just decks. Oh, I forgot the I forgot the full control here. Missing the whole glyph. And kind of fill out the intel as long as it's not too far. And some random decks just cause. Random decks. Not too far for intel. Intel. Random decks. Random decks. Oh, I forgot to pick up that way down there. That's that. Not pick up. I guess I need to pick up the thing down there. I might as well. Maximum life. That. Is there anything over here I want to pick up? Not really. Alright, so I have 6 points. Guess I'll throw this into random decks again. I really dislike Paragon Wars. I feel like this is boring. Should be okay. We got Dexter. All right. Well, there's Paragon. Will I be playing PoE too? Yep, for sure. Sorry. D2 was a mage that would cast I made on you. Oh, there's a mage, and then damage to health scale is pretty high. So you'd one shot yourself on percentage based on thorns. Barbarians had to downgrade their weapons and stuff. Or modern technology, FOMO, partly content creators and people wanting to be successful. Creators are adding a lot to how things are currently. I think for like the loud minority, yes. That's why there's no patience for the LE team. For example, when Blizzard releases new seasons regularly, GG about the drop PoE too. Well, then Let's Epoch is also smaller than both of them. Obviously, way smaller than Blizzard, but definitely smaller than GGG as well. I mean, they're not going to be able to churn out as much content every 3 months as those games are. Corporate overhead or not, but in your opinion, they really need to fix masterwork in this season. It's gonna be a little bit better next season. Keyboard a little bit better. I don't feel like it's enough, but maybe if we complain really hard, like really hard, a massive amount of copium. Okay, so what do I have? Armor is at 120. Res is almost capped, so I guess we'll throw the college gem in. Actually, I don't have one. Okay, so we'll just craft one. Taupe, no. Diamond.
Another time then.
Cherry, what's going on? Yeah, D4 needs more in-game mechanics. Only has like 3. Well, I wouldn't even say mechanics though. Like the thing about it is that like we blow through the end game like it's nothing. And like with Spiritborn this season, it just exaggerated that to like the 10th power, right? Here's the problem with that though. So like when I say like when there's end game is concerned, right? Like end game, people, I mean, usually you're considering like things that take a while. Like the end game it's gonna take you a while for you to actually progress through or do things through. But also at the same time in the Diablo universe, people want to one-shot stuff. So if you want to one-shot stuff, you're not gonna have an end game. So there's a push and pull when it comes to that, because technically speaking, all these other stuff like Cuirass, Inferno Hordes, I say World Boss. I say I wouldn't even put World Boss in there. Dark Citadel. All those can be considerably harder. But then people are going to complain that they can't one-shot it, or that they can't. That it's taking too long to kill or too long to do. That's why Lilith is so easy now, because people complain about that. Granted, there were some bugs, obviously, and those bugs were, those were obviously worth complaining about. But like many people claim that the fight was just way too hard. But it's like, I thought the mechanics were actually well done. They just needed to remove the buggy parts of it, and that's it. They should have kept Lilith hard, but people didn't want that. So the thing is that you're not going to have a satisfying end game if we just want to blow through it without merit, without like even thinking about it. So it's like you would never have an end game that's satisfying for parts of the player base with that type of perspective. Put it that way. Can't. Like you just literally can't. So I think for like the Diablo audience, I just don't think we're gonna ever really get that type of meta progression per se that we in this chat would like to see. Diablo. I think it works well in like Path of Exile 2 or Path of Exile in general, because the game started off as a, you know, kind of like hard ass, you know, hardcore-ish, you know, very, you know, yeah, it's hard, but too bad and get over it type ordeal things. And if you didn't like it, you play something else. They didn't change the formula. They left it as it was. Which, you know, obviously makes sense. But they can do stuff like that because that's what their game is designed around. So they can kind of have more, yeah, this is hard, but you expect it to be hard because it's Path of Exile. You know, suck it up sort of thing. We can't do that to the Diablo audience. They would just complain nonstop. So, I don't really know what Blizzard can do, really, honestly, about that. It's just gonna be straight up. Like, I don't know what they can do. Because like people wanted to keep Spiritborn as broken as they were. I mean, look at the polls. Look at the polls when Rod asked about the whole like Spiritborn thing, right? And despite the fact that Spiritborn would still be the strongest class in the game and would still mow through most of the content, people did not want to take the 2-0 nerf to their ridiculously high number mid-season, despite the fact that you will still be mowing through content like it's nothing. So like, because people were afraid that, oh, well, I won't one-shot stuff anymore, so no, don't fix my Spiritborn buzz because I want to one-shot things. I want to keep one-shotting things. One-shotting things is fun. And that kind of showed you, you know, that kind of gave you an idea of like where a good chunk of the player base really is in this game, like what they want. You know, the players who play PoE like consistently want something different, or they're used to something different, and that's kind of what that is. So yeah, so when we say Diablo 4 has no end game, I think I will almost have to say that it's probably more on the player than it is on Blizzard at that point. Or sorry, the player base that it garnished, I guess you could, or that plays the game more so than Blizzard just not being able to give you a meta progression type thing. Because I think they would end up alienating a good chunk of the player base if they made true meta progression. So I think that's just kind of like, so when I see that, I just kind of wanted to point that out because it's like, you know, I don't think they don't want to have challenging in game. It's just that people don't care nor like it. And then when it does get challenging, people just ask for carries. So like, which is why content creators make so much money, so much gold and stuff, and for massing things off this game, because no one wants to learn Lilith mechanics. No one wants to learn the Dark Citadel mechanics. Like, but in Path of Exile, it's you know, the player base. It's a different story there. Or if I make a road, do I have some gear you can spare for one of your bills? Most of my stuff is cleaned out because I'm not really playing much right now. I'm like on casual-ish mode, so like I have a pretty bare inventory. So I don't have like spares of this gear right now. It's just sitting in my inventory. Not at the moment. Sorry. not the Trillo trolls and those cashing in on the next trillion, quadrillion, quintillion damage videos. Yeah, pretty much. I said, expect Kennedy for expecting more than what it delivers, because the marketing led us to believe that there will be more. Well, yeah, they were very aggressive with the marketing. It's had to be this build, any road build. But that's the thing. Like I said, like my inventory is pretty. Oh, Zangetsu. Oh, he left. I was gonna say something to him. I was gonna say Bonkai, but he left. He left. So no auction house is really killing me. I think the idea of not having a marketplace end game is just really silly in 2024 right now. I still think the whole idea of leaving the game to go on a third-party website, to go click on something, to friend them there, then to hopefully be able to friend them in the game, then to join the game, then to open up a trade window to be able to trade something. It's just really, really like multiple decades old of a system. And the fact that we're still doing that in 2024 is mind-boggling to me. Now, I can understand that, you know, if people are trying to do, I don't know, RMT, obviously, if people want to do whatever that is, but like we're just talking about just regular items in the game with gold that's already in the game. And the best we can do is literally a third-party site for the most part. I think that's just so silly. Everyone's gotta watch Bleach. Oh, that is right. Bleach was what? No, wait. No. Is it Dragon Ball Daima, or is that Friday, or is it no? It's no, Bleach is Saturday, right? Or is it Friday? Or do I have those backwards? No, Bleach is Saturday. Like later on Saturday, and then Dragon Ball Daima is Friday. So I gotta watch Dragon Ball when I get off the stream. Okay, yeah. I keep up with it. Instead of my world map, now I really don't. I really think they shot themselves in the foot with the world map, the whole open world thing. They really should have. I know why they were trying to do it, but I think now they're kind of stuck doing it, and they have to keep developing around this idea. I have a feeling that this won't come back in like Diablo 5. I almost forgot how to play Random Rails. It's been a while. You watch it from the beginning. Isn't that supposed to be like a remake or something pretty soon? Yeah, I'm playing this all bad, man. I'm like so rusty with this. I'm like super rusty with this. My time isn't bad though, but I'm rusty. Oops. There's a huge difference in survivability once you got the barrier generation of pants. Yeah, it is. It is pretty big. It is a big deal. Yeah, the armory will be a very good thing next season. I am looking forward to that. As many times as I want to play different builds on like different days or whatever. Like a player like me, would love an armory because I'll make use of that like at least every other day at the minimum. Yeah. Also, Blue Lock Saturdays and MF Ghost Sundays are pretty good too. Yeah, I haven't gotten into any of those yet. I still gotta play catch up on some anime. But I know like those are the two main ones I watch currently that I'm caught up with. I'll put it that way. I feel like it's definitely a slower run than last run, but I know I did click it up like 3 tiers or whatever, but oh wow, my that bar went up quick. All right. No ads. Come on. Okay, so we. Alright, so we did 3 stagger. That on the 95, not bad. Wish you could turn off rep text every time I kill something. You see the heralding rep, and I can't think you got a mythic. I agree. I love D4, I really do, but I can't lie. I'm starting to feel the hype of PoE 2 in the boredom of season 6. Well, I mean, that's easy, right? I mean, if you like, I think, I mean, that's going to be the case for like any season. Like you're going to get bored of every season if you play a lot every season. Like no one really stays in like fully engaged with any season in any game pretty much anywhere. You know, hell, Fortnite goes through the same things. All games do. Games with the, like seasonal content or like that, like releasing like once every 3 months or 3.5 months. Like yeah, you just get bored after some time. I think the what makes a season successful is how long did it keep your attention. Like if it kept your attention for like 1 week, then that's a bad season. If it kept your attention for like maybe a month, that's actually a good season because that's actually better than what's usually predicted. But with that being said, I mean, it's a great time to jump in and try PoE 2 early access because you know even if you are a big fan of Diablo 4, there's nothing going on in Diablo 4 at the moment because you know we're past mid season now, so we're towards the back of it, back half of it. So you've already done everything you want to do in D4, so you're not missing anything. You know what I mean? It's not a oh man I want to continue to keep playing D4. It's like nah, you don't really have much of a reason to unless you're just starting the season, right? But for those who've been playing for almost 2 months now, it's like oh well there's nothing for me to do anyway. There's no reason to at least not try it. Which build would you try as your first rogue build? Honestly, Rain of Arrows, to be honest with you. Rain of Arrows is a lot of fun. I had to kind of learn how to play it again. It took me a while to get used to the rotation again. Because you like the Adventures of Dragon Ball Diamond. I feel like, don't get me wrong, like I don't know, like I like it, but the whole idea of like kind of picking on Goku for being well dumb, like you're just being overall just like oblivious to like everything. I feel like gets old quick. I mean, I guess it's appropriate now because he's a kid, but it's almost like the same thing as if he was an adult. Like it's almost like no difference, you know. I think it would have hit better if they would have peeled back on that a little bit, and Dragon Ball Super or whatever, but they didn't. Take your spirit caller. So I guess follow the Maxroll guides. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're watching from YouTube right now, right? I have a video guide on this build. This is like when I say Rent of Rose is a build you should try. Use Dice Flurry build. I'm using using Rent of Rose right now. This is a Rent of Rose build. So like the build that I'm suggesting you should try. It's literally what you see me playing right now. I do wish I had a better understanding of the game. Which one? To my PoE 2 or Diablo 4? Well, I guess no one really has a great understanding of PoE 2 except for those who played it, but the closed beta. I could also recommend Flurry as a second option for Rogue. I love a Flurry, then add in Death Trap. Build's a lot of fun. There we go. I wonder how long I should like stay in the smoke stuff now, because I can't just leave. I normally would. I have to kind of wait a little bit. I do get the damage from stealth or whatever, so I need to be in the cloud for at least a little bit. Mother's Judgment. Okay, this is gonna take a while. For a little while. It's gonna be more than 3 staggers for sure. Yeah. Oh, whoops. It's been a long time since I died to that. I guess I should have moved in. Oof. Yeah, so not even 4 staggers. I need a 5th. All because no minions and literally the worst boss possible I could have gotten. Oh, what hit me? All right, now that was confusing. Because whatchamacallit, the shadow stuff didn't hit me at all. Is that Mother's Judgment that hit me? It might have been that lightning, actually, now that I think about it. Lightning effects are a little overtuned this season. Oh, it's a bad time for that thing to spawn. All right. I think I'm gonna call it here. I kind of want to keep my streams short until next week because it's starting next week, Tuesday. It's gonna be a lot of blasting throughout all of December, so I don't want to wear myself out until then or before then. So taking it easy most of the time. I think tomorrow I might try to attempt to play a little bit of alchemical admixture Renevels and see how that feels. Woody wants me to try it, so oh sure, I'll give it a shot. Because it actually might be decent to spec into that. Maybe not the main setup, but like a side setup. I think it will actually be really good with. Also, maybe a much easier to play setup too as well would be that. All right, who to go to? We can go to Ghost. Haven't seen him in a bit. Yeah, we'll do that. Guess I wait till tomorrow to build random rails or try a new. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. So what I'm thinking about doing is, in regards to what could be possible for the next patch, like PTR. So whatever's on YouTube or /Maxroll or whatever, whichever one you want to go off of, do that version. Because like what I'm getting ready, because like that, there's no like. Sorry. So what I'm talking about is for like the next patch. So yeah. So like what I may do tomorrow is just to see if it's even like a thing. That's all. Because I mean you will play it almost the exact same way anyways, but it will definitely be weaker than precision, crit based or whatever. I just kind of want to see like by how much is kind of the thought. But no, yeah. What's on Maxroll or on my YouTube guy? I mean, that's pretty much the updated, the most updated version you're gonna be able to get for a build like this. So anyhow, appreciate you guys showing me. Go hang out with Ghost. I will see you tomorrow night. We'll I guess talk a little bit more D4 ish or whatever. I do plan on playing Path of Exile 2 for those who are wondering. That is coming next Friday. I'll be doing PTR obviously first on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is PTR blast for many hours. Because I need to get as much information as possible for future Diablo 4 guides before I jump into Path of Exile 2. So anyhow, I'll see y'all, well, I guess later tonight. And as always, till next time.